Someone said, why would you do that, didn't they? Why wouldn't you do that? Morning, y'all. Morning, Ola.
Morning.
Hope you all had a good weekend. Another great start with old DJ winning. Mr. Long Dog. Let's just remember that TaylorMade do not trust any single manufactured sponsored people. Please be careful on your Twitter and Instagram timelines. Today's daily vlog brought to you by Golf Online. Keep watching, there'll be something at the end, I hope. Not heard from them yet, but usually on the day they come up with some magic. So today's vlog's going to be slightly different. We're going to talk wrist angles, and it's going to come from a direct question from a user that I just really enjoyed. I get this question a lot, so I thought we'd cover it. Always like to try and cover the repeater questions. It's going to be a challenging week for me. My road is being resurfaced, but luckily I'm heading out on a cruise come Wednesday. That sign needs changing. Still says 2017. Shall we show you today's question, which is going to be today's theme of the vlog? And if any of you have really good questions that can, you know, service the whole vlog, if you like, then send them. You just got to send them as a video format. Let me find it.
Good morning, Mark. I'm going to start with the shameless product placement plug here and say I'm coming from Stono Ferry Golf Club in Charleston, South Carolina.
Cool.
Normally have some nicer weather out here on the course, but as you can see behind me, we got a little snow that came through the last couple days, so not going to get a whole lot of range practice in anytime soon. My question I wanted to send over to you was sort of a follow-up to some of the videos you've done lately about wrist angle, especially the one with Rory. Talk about the flattened left wrist at the top of the swing. Trying to figure out how the wrist angle you have at address can impact the wrist angle you're able to maintain through the swing, including the top. So if you start with a really strong grip, should you even try to get to a flat wrist position at the top of the swing? So I'm kind of curious to see how you would have to manipulate your wrist through the swing to be able to achieve that. Look forward to your thoughts and response, and keep up the great work, bro.
Great question. Thanks for sending it as a video. So today's vlog, hot topic in coaching, has been in my coaching for years. If you watch my how to stop slicing video, which I think is like 7 years or something old now, I am talking about wrist angles in the backswing and in the downswing. So let's do a little bit of a variation on how you start and how that then interprets itself as positive wrist angles. This is what we're talking about. The noise is the road being dug up outside. But let's have a little looky in here. I can only apologise for anyone who doesn't want to see this name too much. Let's see why I'm really opening these. So it's got my number on. Starts at a 26. I make it hashtag 262. And oh yes, Find Pro V1X is on, peoples! So same as last year, anyone finding one of these Titleist 26 with my face on there will be winning a number of prizes. So watch the course of vlogs this year, going to be featuring this ball. That is pretty cool. Oh, it's a little nippy. I'm out of Dawlish doing some filming. Let's talk wrist angles. So let's take 4-knuckle grip on my left hand, what we'd call strong. If I was to flatten lead wrist with this grip, left arm, I'm getting that amount of turn in the face. Now that amount of turn, I'm not going to hit the ball with a flat lead wrist. But let's say I was going to hit it close to a flat lead wrist. So starting with lots of cup and angle, 4 knuckles, that much flattening on the way back. I'm going to have to deal with that on the way down, which would often result in handle forwards, handle higher, maybe a combination of both of those. So what you'll generally see, people who have stronger grips, 4 knuckles on lead hand, subject to their delivery conditions, them flattening the lead wrist might cause overturns. But that being said, with some students who have strong grips, what I do is rather than tackle the grip that they've kind of told me they've always struggled to fix because they hit the ball worse, all those kind of ideas, I get them flattening their lead wrist get them overturning the ball, ask them if they want to get rid of that overturn on every shot, and then we change the grip. That combined with the flat wrist and a more neutral grip, they're happy to change the grip because they don't like the overturn. Do you see what I mean? Because obviously they're hitting shots with 4 knuckles, some good ones, not overturning, and then they get the odd block or overturn. I get the flat wrist going with them in a lesson, show them how their grip is overturning that ball every time now, then they want to change their grip. But very player specific, that one. Loads of knuckles, you need to be careful if you're going to play with that hold, how much you're flattening on the way back. Basically it's got to work in the whole package, isn't it? So this is a wrist, but I hit my driver good, arrow out. So let's think about weak holds. Let's say I'm only seeing 1 knuckle, even no knuckles on my lead hand. So top hand, left hand, that requires to get the face turning close to a path now. Hardly any turn in my wrist. So at the top of my backswing, you're going to see naturally a flat wrist because it's always almost starting that way. And a little bit spiffy, you're actually going to see maybe a little bit of this way to try and control the face of the path. So your starting point reference to how much twist you put in at the start is going to be massive in what you see at the top. But again, if you've got someone with a weak grip, adamant they don't want to change it, to control face of the path, we're going to have to see wrist conditions of bowing wrists. Really get the idea of moving that wrist a lot to get the face to turn the same amount as, say, if it was a strong grip or a neutral grip, that wrist is going to move away. On a measurement system, it's called deviation, so it's the kind of flexion or extension, so the cupping or the bowing that is going to manage direction of face and loft all times. Has to be put around what you start with. Weaker grips, you're naturally going to see a bit more than a stronger grip. That's kind of one given rule, but the puzzle is bigger than just this. That was a lot of fun, filming a Dawlish here. Let's just get a little deeper down the rabbit hole of wrist angles. So just to make sure lots of you are not getting too confused and trying to work on the right things. So wrist angles, let's get deeper down. This is how, if you really want to understand wrist angles, you and your coach can really start to kind of delve into how much control you have over this face. So there's 6 ways you can move your wrist, stroke bottom of your arm. So we've got hinging this way and this way. So this is called ulnar deviation and radial deviation. So when we start the swing, you think about it, we're bending our hand down this way, and on the backswing you're going to maybe deviate away from that possibly. Then you've got the one we're talking about, so you've got extension and flexion, what people would call cupped and uncupped and bowed. And then you've also got supination and pronation, which is coming more from the arm, but it would still be a wrist condition as well, joint with the way your arm moves. Now, if you're going to move your wrist 6 ways, and each one of these ways do twist and turn and move the loft and where the face points, then you're going to have to balance all of them. Example, if I start in ulnar deviation, so wrist bent down this way, so obviously when I set up, my wrist isn't out in front of me, club wouldn't hit the ground, I'm going to bend it down to the ground. And then when I come in to hit the ball, I've got more ulnar than when I started, so high handle for instance, that can point the face further right. So if you're playing decent golf with loads of ulnar at impact, then you might need more of this angle to compensate for the higher heel end to toe end, which is also pointing the face to the right to bring it back, possibly. Or you could just change the lie of your clubs. Now if you take supination pronation, I mean that's changing or deviating the face by 180 degrees, so 90 degrees from, say, purpley up right here in the camera to 90 degrees down at the ground, 90 degrees up the air. So if you're not very good at supinating, again, you might need more of this. If you're really active at supinating at certain parts of your swing, you might need less wrist hinge. It's balancing all 6 conditions, and then obviously the one we talk about, the extension and the flexion, so cupping or not. So as a general rule, what I have tended to do with students, and I use it with my daughter who's learning, I tell her, if you want the ball to go more left of where it's going, put more of this in. If you want it to go more right of where it's going, put less of that in and feel more of this. And that empowers her to then go away and control her shots a bit more during a dynamic playing session on the golf course. I also work with her with how much ulnar and radial she puts in, because she wants to hinge her wrist quite aggressively, which then in turn gets her hinging her wrist or cupping, extending her lead wrist as well. But getting her to wholly have the one thought which she can latch onto, which is flattening or not, really seems to work in her mind, and if it needs a bit more, we just push it a bit more. So I'm always trying to make it as simplistic for her and my students as possible, because you've got to go out there and game it. You want to be thinking about all 6 angles, it would just blow your head off. But if we want to give the truthful answer, understanding that your wrist can move in 6 different directions, it's always going to be a case of balancing all those directions. If you want, I'm not going to say it. If you want to control your face the path, simplistically, more that way to go left, turn the ball left, more that way to go right. But if that doesn't help, get a lesson, because there is so much more to it. Right, Monday night boys football. I am the taker. There is the boy in the football kit. The number 1 player. It's going to be a little bit cold tonight, Milo. Have you been told to tidy up your room?
No.
I think he has. Bit grumpy. See you all tomorrow. Have a good evening. My evening will be generally relatively cold. Post comments down below, let me know if this makes sense. Reference wrist angles. I think the key is really understanding the 6 ways that it moves. Say just lead wrist alone, obviously both wrists move equally in directions as in range of movement. Then it makes it very clear. This is what I work with pros that I help with their teaching and what have you, getting them to understand the 6 conditions of wrist movement, how it affects loft, then in turn face, then in turn path and face the path. And you see them have these real kind of light bulb moments, and you get students helped across the land. See you all tomorrow. Before I go, Golf Online, we've got a £20 voucher to give to you, one of the watchers. There's a link down below in the description. Follow that link, fill out the forms, enter. Someone next Monday will be winning a £20 voucher thanks to Golf Online.